Hey guys, Aubrey here, Leary Motorsports. So I've been working for the past month or more on nights and weekends trying to get this motor lowered in the cradle to get better handling. And so I'm towards the end of the project here, but I'm going to show you what I've been doing before I put the skins back on, before I start to put everything back together. So I'll show you the finished product, and then I'll have some footage of doing the build. So turn this around, and so I had to lower the engine here, which meant cutting out my timing cover right there. So that's where the power steering pump used to mount. You can see there's still a little bit of that curvature there of the old power steering hole. So I had to cut that out so that my upper link arm can bypass that, has clearance. And then I built the new aluminum oil pan in the last video and rebuilt. So in this video I will show you rebuilding all the engine mounts. I also made myself a new carrier bearing there, which you can see from this side a little bit too. So it's got a little bit of rubber isolators there to just absorb some of the vibration. I also made my intermediary drive shaft here at 1/2 inch shorter because it was really kind of bottoming out at ride height. So now I've got my front and rear drive shafts are the exact same length, so I only have to carry one spare drive shaft on here. So, and then while I was at it, I made this mount too. So that is going to give me the some resistance to twisting on the top of the motor there, so that it's not all on these motor mounts back here. And then I also had to redo the transmission mounts because I lowered the transmission. So let's see if we can get this in there. So that's the new transmission mount. And these are just their energy suspension bushings. And then I just cut them to the length that I want, but they fit inside a 2-inch DOM tube. So cut them to the length I want on the bandsaw. And then also these come with a 9/16 inch spacer in there. And let me get this pulled out. So this spacing tube right here, there we go. That's a 9/16 inch hole. So I just get 3/4 inch OD tubing from McMaster and then cut it to the right length. So that's what I did for all of these mounts, for that one there and the transmission mount, and even for the carrier bearing there. So I'm much happier with this carrier bearing because even if your pillow block was to break or your bearing got seized, it's still encapsulated in this inside the mount there. So should be pretty rugged. So I'm still going to have to redo the intake. So this right here, I had just a separate filter for my supercharger bypass valve here. So I just had like a little K&N filter with a pre-filter on it, and then I had my main filter over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a proper filter housing, and then I'm going to pipe this into it. I'm going to pipe both of them into it, and that'll be another video. But now I have a little bit more space up here. You can see before, this bolt right here used to be hitting right there. So you can see how much clearance I've gained by lowering this. It's going to make a big difference in terms of being able to get this mounted on here and having access to everything in here. So you can see how much easier it is for me to get to all my injectors, and how much lower. It's kind of hard to show, you know, apples to apples, how much lower this sits in the chassis, but it's pretty significant, especially out here towards the back end. So really excited. I think everything's coming together really well, making some minor improvements and tweaks here and there while I'm at it, while I've got everything apart. And so I'll go ahead and show you the build now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut this section of this timing cover out, put the center sump oil pan on here, and so that oil pan is going to be not only shallower, but it's going to be moved further forward here. It's going to hold more oil than this, and then the baffles are going to help to keep that oil close to my pickup. So it should be all around a better system for oil. And it's going to allow me to drop this engine about 3 inches lower in the cradle, 3 inches here up here at the front, and then you know, it'll be the transmission. Well, the transfer case mount's going to stay in the same place, so it's going to drop on an angle. So the engine's going to sit flatter. It's going to sit lower in the cradle. It's going to lower my center of gravity, and it's going to make it oil better. And combined with this, I also put the belt-driven power steering pump on, which has improved my steering substantially. So all of this is going to really make this vehicle handle a whole lot better. Okay, so I got this piece made up, and it's gonna fit in here. And I got this notched out to go around the power steering pump gear. I had to notch it out more than I was thinking because I got to looking around these gears and they all have a certain amount of space around them, and I don't know how much space is necessary to allow the oil to flow up the gear when it's running. So I had to clearance it a little bit more, so I just welded this little tab in the backside to so I can still have a nice flat surface for my seal. So I put some putty in here to keep the debris from going back in there when I cut this out, and I pulled the tag off the outside here. And so I'm gonna make a cut on that blue mark, and then I'll make a mark here, make a cut, and then I'll make 2 more pieces of aluminum to go fit in there, and then put the timing cover back on, clamp these in place, and weld everything. All right, so quick update. This fits really nice. I've got enough space there. I'm gonna put 1/2-inch bar stock down here and across there, and then I'm gonna put the timing cover back on and weld everything in place. But I didn't think through well enough how I was gonna bolt this down to keep that sealed well. And so I originally thought I would just bolt into this, but then I realized I just don't have enough meat there. So I'm going to put a bolt through right here, right next to that 1/2-inch piece, and then down here too, just through bolt it. But I'd like to have one here in the corner as well. So I'm gonna make a little piece of aluminum and weld it in here, and then drill a hole kind of right here on the edge of this. That'll leave me plenty of meat spot for that hole to go through, and because it's through bolted, I'll be able to get it nice and tight because it'll be into a stainless nut on the backside instead of into the aluminum. So not ideal, but it's gonna work just as well. So get started on that now.
let me show you what we got going on here. I got this thing torn apart. I got the oil pan in here, and so you can see that's about where it's going to sit. You can see I've extended this rail out. I cut the old cross member out, and I've extended this rail out further, and then I'm going to weld new mounting brackets in. They're obviously going to be lower to match this, and then this will transition into round tubing, come up in the front. On the other side, I cut out more tubing all the way back to here, because that's where my original mount was for the intermediate shaft, for the drive shaft. But it's going to hit, it would have hit right here. So I cut that all out. I'm going to change that around, and I'm going to make the intermediate shaft a 1/2 inch shorter. The other thing that I did was I returned this. I put a steel pan on the oil pan here, the transmission oil pan, because it's shallower, and I have a massive transmission cooler in here, so I don't need the larger aluminum oil pan. This whole piece right here is a transmission cooler. So, and most of the time when I finish a race, it's not even, the cooler's not even running, because this thing's just not working that hard. So, there's the intermediate drive shaft. So we're going to pull that apart. I'm going to cut it right here, and machine a 1/2 inch out of it, and then weld it back together. And then I'm going to change out that to a different style pillow block bearing, and get that mounted back together so I can make sure that the mount's clear when it's at full bump. So let's get started.
All right, so I'm going to split this project up into 2 videos. This is the end of the first video. You can see behind me, I've got my air cleaner all set up. The piping's all done for it. I have to weld everything together. That's going to be a 3rd video for the intake and the air cleaner and all that stuff. But the 2nd video should be listed in the next couple weeks. I got a race coming up in about 3 weeks. I got to get all this stuff done before and do some testing. So like and subscribe, and should be dropping another video with the rest of the lowering project couple weeks. Thanks for watching.